Have you ever wanted to make a CNC sign? Well, watch along in today's video, and we'll show you how it's done. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to Dave's Shop. I'm Dave. Today we're going to be making a CNC carved sign for the shop. I've been waiting a while to make this and finally gotten around to doing a design and actually carving it out. Today we're going to be carving it, and on a subsequent video I'll show you how I came up with the design and translated it into a program to use. Follow along and we'll make our sign. Thanks.
Little side project we're working on is a sign for the shop. So this is a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. It's cut to 11-inch square, and yesterday, while it was nice out, I got a couple of coats of blue paint on it. So that's all dried up good now, and what we're going to do is we're going to put on some ore mask to cover it up, and then we'll put it on the CNC and we'll cut out the design. And then once the design is cut out, we'll use some white spray paint, fill that in, and then pull the ore mask for a reveal. So we got the board at the workbench and we got our ore mask. So I'm just going to hold this down. I'll put the board face down, just so we can get the size we want. We want to go just slightly larger. So that looks good. Gave it a sanding just to knock down the edges before we put the spray paint on, so it's pretty smooth. I think I got it. Give it a good rub down so we can make sure it's sticking well. There. Now we'll take it over to the CNC and we'll start doing our cuts. Alright, so I've taken the opportunity to put the board down on the CNC spoil board. Got it locked into position. I'm going to call up our program now. And the first thing we got to do is we're going to have to zero out the X and Y axis. We also have a tool change here. It's going to be manual. So at the end of the second cut, we've got to swap out the 1/8 bit to a 1/16 bit so we can get some finer detail. And I'll try to include that as we move forward. So we'll reset the machine and bring it up to the front. So this will be a first time doing this for me. I have not used the ore mask to create a sign like this. So we'll see how it works out. All I'm doing right now is I'm lining up the X and Y on the corner of the board. I'll zero that out. Now we'll raise up our Z, and we'll move, let's say 150 to the right and rearward. We'll use our sensor, drive down to it. So now we have all three axes zeroed out. And if I send it to home, that's where it should go. Perfect. So I'm just going to raise it back up so we can put the dust cover on. Make sure the skirt is covering it. Okay. Just get my hearing protection on. We'll turn the vacuum on. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the circle perimeter. Okay, so that was the perimeter circle. I'm going to load up the next portion, which is basically the rest of the sign, but it'll be done at the 1/8 bit. So the detail won't be very pronounced. And then we'll finish it out with the 1/8 bit. Okay, so that ore mass didn't turn out as much as I thought it would. It seems to have lifted up and pulled away and been torn up by the bit a bit. Not quite sure what the reason for that is. Maybe the type I have is not the correct one. It could be the bit. I believe I've got a compression bit on there, 1/8, so that means it's got a down cut at the beginning, and then it rolls into a upcut, and maybe the upcut, because I'm not going deep enough, isn't doing its bit, which on another one I've tried, it actually cleaned up the edge a little bit more. So not quite sure what's happening there, but I'm going to go ahead. We're going to change out the bit. We'll go with the 1/8. I probably won't film the whole 1/8. I'll do a little bit at the beginning, and then we'll probably just wait and do the. I have to raise that up a bit. And we'll do a little bit at the end just so you can see how it's looking. Okay, I am going to have to change the collar on this as well. Because the 1/16 bit has a 1/4 inch shaft on it. Okay, we got that done. So we're good for X and Y, but we're going to have to redo the Z. So I'll move, like I did last time, I'll move 100 units off, X and Y. I guess I did 150 last time, but we should be good here. Do the search. Now if we send it home, good. Alright, so we're just going to raise it up here so I can put the cover back on. Okay, and we're good for the bit. So we'll get the dust collection working again. And we'll start the next section. Guess it helps to load up the program first.
So doesn't look pretty, but I don't know. Anyways, I checked the other bit while we were waiting, and it does seem to have picked up a bit of the, I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, can't focus in on it, but it's got some material stuck to it, burned on maybe, not sure. And it definitely doesn't look like it went deep enough to utilize the upcut part of the bit. So we're going to leave that as is. We'll take it off and we'll pull the plastic and we'll see what we can do to salvage this. Well, since we're not going to be using the Sora mask on here to allow us to spray paint, I think I'm just going to peel it off. The other thing being is because I didn't cut through the first layer all the way, it's light enough that I could probably just use that instead of having that painted white. So, having said that, let's grab a knife here and let's peel it up and see if, it's not very sticky. I'm surprised. I would have thought it would have been a lot stickier than that. So I think I don't have the right product. Okay, so a little rough around the edges here, but I'm gonna see if I can clean that up. Get an X-Acto knife, and I mean, for the first time, it's not too bad. A little close here on this, so it's trying to split there. And one other faux pas is when I brought it in, it looks like I didn't validate all the vectors, and the F and the T joined. So, right there. Anyways, first time, not bad. Could have been better. Didn't like the Aura mask that I used. And anyways, like I say, this is all a learning process. And if you're not trying, you're not learning.
Well, that wraps up our video. I hope you found it useful and some knowledge. I tried to leave in some of the mistakes that I made because, as I said, if you're not trying, you're not learning. The whole point of this is to show you how things are done, and sometimes we all make mistakes, but there's a way to recover from it. So I hope you learned something, and join me in my next video when we go over how I came up with the design, what software I used, and how you too can do the same thing. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye.